So thank you so much that you're attending till the end of the event. And thank you so much because I know there were so many questions and we didn't allow you time for you to do them. You will have time at the end with a glass of cava, thanking to the embassy of that glass of cava we will have together later. So later you will have time to do all the questions that we didn't allow you to do because we wanted to do it in short and quick and very direct. So this fourth panel, it will be around the relations between Spain, Israel, and especially Barcelona and Tel Aviv. I can swear you, we didn't organize what happened yesterday. We were working about that topic since the last summer, but sometimes what happens is like that. So with us, first to talk is Chaim Goren. Welcome again. He's the deputy mayor of the Tel Aviv municipality, and I would like you to answer to ask you how were the relations between Tel Aviv and Barcelona? How are the relations? How was the experience between keeping that relations not just these days, but usually, and how was that experience?
Thank you very much again. So I will speak shortly, and I will speak about the background generally of the relationship, and I understand that they will speak more particularly after this. So I want to mention again that the new memorandum of understanding between Tel Aviv, Yaffo, and Barcelona, signed 10 years ago, 2013, when the former mayor of Barcelona, Javier Trias, right? Javier Trias were here in Tel Aviv-Yaffo with the mayor of this city, and the both of them signed up on the agreement. The purpose of this agreement were to encourage cooperation and exchange of knowledge in a lot of very important and significant areas like technology, as we heard before, innovation, urban development, cultural heritage, sustainability, very important topic now, sports, as we heard before, tourism, education, and more. And we want to promote the development of trade, investment, and economic activity between these two cities. And the main common ground, I think, of this agreement were innovation and technology, as we heard before in the FINA Barcelona, like the smart cities were there. And we want to promote delegation that came and still coming from Barcelona to here, to learn from here, from Tel Aviv-Yaffo, things, and we are sending a lot of delegations to Barcelona, and I can mention things like recycling and even sanitation, the sanitation system, how to manage it, the cameras, the security cameras in the city system, and a lot of these things that helping us, and I think them, the municipality of Barcelona, to improve the services that we can give to our residents. This is for now, okay? And maybe after this, I will say more things.
Thank you so much. So now, Miriam Naon, she's a translator. She works also in an organization of Spanish people living in Israel. She has a informal organization called El Abanico, And I would like to ask you how the citizens of Israel, who you are riches yourselves, that you have your life in between the two lands and above the sea. How have you felt? How did you feel that relations? Now, and the first question from the Israeli side, and then I will ask you also about how do you live it from the Spanish side.
Hello. As it was just said, I am the coordinator of an informal group of Spanish citizens who reside in Israel. Regarding the situation at the moment, what I can say is that the general feeling, both I think in Israel and in Barcelona, if I think of the people that I have spoken to, and if I can draw any conclusions from my conversations with them, is that this is a sort of hitch, in the sense that this is not reflecting the feeling of the people in Barcelona. It's more of a political exercise following a specific agenda of a specific party, which is not a party which places itself in the center of politics, but rather in an extreme. We have to consider the fact that there will be elections soon as well, and therefore all of this exercise is just a way of promoting party politics rather than the theme itself of the relations between Barcelona and Tel Aviv. Obviously, there are many parallelisms between the two cities. I think both are very open cities, modern, innovating. There are natural links between them. Bridges have been built between them, and what the mayor of Barcelona has done at the moment is just burn the bridge in a way. But bridges between people are stronger than mere declarations. So what I hear about the people, I hear the people saying is that regardless of this declaration, Tel Aviv and Barcelona will continue to have cultural ties, commercial links, innovation, cooperation, and everything that goes with it. I can also give a nuance regarding the Jews who live in Barcelona, Spanish Jews living in Barcelona, as well as people that come from Barcelona and live in Israel. They all had also a common thing. They said, if I believed that this was the feeling of the general people of Barcelona, then I would be really sad about it. But considering the fact that this is just, a political game that does not have the backing of the people of Barcelona, then we feel fine with it. We'll just continue cooperating in spite of her.
Thank you, Miriam. I must say that is with us the president of the Israeli community of Barcelona. That was not prepared, and maybe he's outside. Okay. Anyway, you will be able to talk to him afterwards. But there has been some statements from the communities, and I just want to add what you said, that it's not only the Jewish communities. I mean, there's people, we are not Jews, that we also support the friendship between Tel Aviv and Barcelona, because we think it's not a matter of just the religion, but also that Barcelona, the people from Barcelona like Tel Aviv, love Tel Aviv, like to learn from Tel Aviv, and also it's a way to defend the democracy and the democratic values and the tolerance and so on, and of course fighting anti-Semitism. So it's not, I don't know if he came in, just he's with us, the president of the Jewish community of Barcelona. It was not prepared, but he's also with us, so I wanted to say to him hello.
Hello. Merci. And
now is the time to make a question to Daniel Shadmi. You are a researcher and communication manager of ELNET Spain and ELNET Israel. Sorry, yes, and I want to ask you, how is the work of ELNET Israel with Spain?
Thank you. First of all, thank you, and I'm very privileged to be here and part of this conference and these distinguished guests. For those of you who don't know, ELNet, we are a non-profit organization, apolitical, and we work to strengthen the relations between Europe and Israel based on these shared democratic values and common interests. And we also work with Spain, and one of our experiences was that we had several times what we call strategic dialogues. It's basically what we, one part of our activities, and we had one last summer, for example, in Madrid. And what we saw is that we have lots of shared interests and common challenges. I can share with you a few outcomes of these dialogue and explain a little bit what the dialogue is that we put people in the room from either academia, diplomats, political level, and also media. And we allow them to speak behind closed doors about and raise the right questions, the questions that they want, and the questions that are burning for the people, for their elections, for the media, and obviously academia as well. And what we saw is that we share lots of values across the same pond that we share. And one of the outcomes was to jump on what Mr. Yossivardi said earlier about the golden age in the 13th century, is that we saw that today is mostly the golden age of strengthening the relations, especially, for example, of new changing regional dynamics with the Abraham Accords and the Europeans that are getting closer, and there was a very strong wind from Spain as well. But what we mainly try to do is that the diplomats do their diplomacy and the politicians do their rhetoric or politics, and we facilitate. We allow the people to actually share these values, and we act as an educational organization, because as it was mentioned today endlessly, and the more we speak to each other and the more we see how much we share, actually we realize the more that we are very similar and we can work together. So let's not believe all the headlines and all the rhetoric, and continue to work to strengthen this relationship.
So, Miriam, what would you in that three roles, like politician, ELNet, like as diplomats, the use of diplomacy, which will be the role of the citizens in that scene from Israel, from Spain, and for you that you are the bridge in that scenario?
For sure, it's all.
Can you hear me? Yes? No? It's not.
Hear you, but without it's the same.
No, I'm afraid it doesn't work.
Yes.
Well, we'll have to speak up. Well, I guess the role of the people is not to allow politicians to get away with things. So in this case, the only thing I think we can do is just continue building bridges and doing constructive work in spite of what politicians may say. I think as a citizen, I believe that politicians, even if they have one position or another, once they have won elections, they should be thinking of the good, the general good. And I think that when politicians think only of their own party interests, they are not serving the general good. So what we can do as citizens is just not allow them to get away with things. We can speak up, we can organize things, we can share our goodwill to continue building bridges among ourselves, both in Spain and in Israel.
You had an experience last year, isn't it, about building bridges in Spain?
Yeah, so we held that dialogue that I mentioned, and we saw that there was a lot more, let's say, initiatives and will to promote these cooperations with Israel as well, and to hear more about what there is to be done here. We also, with cooperation with the MFA, have a young leaders delegation that we bring MPs to Israel, and there was one Spanish MP as well that has never been here before, and the feedback we've got from that MP is that seeing things from on the ground and actually being able to meet people either from a border or from innovation or municipalities, etc., is exactly how we build these bridges, is to see it from firsthand.
Now,
I think that this is very important because, as we say, things that you see from there, you don't see from here. So if you will bring, and we are always will be welcome here in Aviv-Yaffo, the residents of Barcelona and of course in Spain generally, here in open arms. And I think that people that will come to here and see in their own eyes what's happening here, and they will understand the common ground of these two cities and these two nations. And I think that the relationship between us is so strong and solid now that we don't take it very hard. It's okay. It will be, like a wave that's coming, and
Exactly.
it will be okay.
I think it's I feel very grateful that you have that point of view, because we live in Barcelona, we got very angry. So it's like, you have that
we
point
take
of
it
view.
very
now.
easily.
Thank you. So which are the projects from now on for
So,
start first?
we are growing in Europe, so we're trying to reach the more and more countries, and Spain is obviously one of them. And part of our yearly projects is a big conference that we're having this year in May in Paris. Unfortunately, not in Spain. I apologize. Maybe next year. Maybe next year, Barcelona.
Maybe.
But we
We can
allow.
work for it.
Yeah. Okay. So we allow policymakers, we invite policymakers from all over Europe and Israel and also the Arab states, and then academia and policy and diplomats and policymakers that are invited also to attend, to basically do this, to see and maybe ask the right people the right questions in order to then go back to their own nation and to understand and to be able to explain what is actually going on over here and face these challenges.
Okay, projects? You want to add something about this situation, projects you would like to?
We are open to everything.
You have talked about the project now that you received today, an invitation.
Yes, as we heard before about a lot of things that we are dealing with now, like after the COVID, and how we share better services to our residents in topics like sustainability or tourism or technology or a lot of things that in our regular day. Want to ask something?
No, I just after you speak, I want to ask.
Okay. So this is the really important things that we are doing all the time, and we still continue to do it.
I'm really sorry, and I blame also myself, but the gentleman from Elnet is going to say we will explain, and Chaim go and say everything is beautiful, and I say the same thing. And we are not addressing the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room, and everybody think about it. Everybody think elephant, but nobody dares to say, is that what will be the relations of Israel and Spain and Israel in Europe in light of what's going on in the country. I'm very worried. Maybe it's not polite to say it, and maybe I embarrass some people, and I'm to blame also because I was sitting like an idiot at the dais thinking about it all the time and didn't dare to say it, and I think we have to touch this very, very serious issue. All of us know that Europe, which is a democratic collection of countries, is not happy with what's going on, or at least concerned, or at least curious about what's going on in the country. And here we talk about the relationship of Israel and Tel Aviv and Barcelona. Excuse me, gentlemen, but this is not the issue. The issue is what 140,000 people in Tel Aviv demonstrate every Saturday. I'm sorry for that. And I would like to hear the gentleman from Elnet, which I know the organization and I appreciate it, how they are going to wish wash this thing.
I'd rather
ask the ambassador.
I am not the ambassador. I am a representative of EdNet, and I'll try not to wish-wash, but what I would like to say.
אני מתבייש שישבתי
We
ולא
can
אמרתי
talk,
שום
but maybe
דבר.
we don't have the answers.
Gladly-
Maybe
no,
the
the
people
answers.
who is sitting in this table.
I'd gladly answer either personally or also with the head of my professional capacity. First of all, let the people express their will and do whatever they want when they protest or not protest, and the people of Barcelona do the same, and then the mayor of Barcelona can make decisions also that are unpopular. Regarding how wish-washing on everything, I haven't seen a law pass yet, and once it will pass, if it will pass, I think then we'll have the conversation. The popular pressure in a democratic country such as Israel is happening on the streets, but also in the Knesset. And I think a lot of people are worried or curious, but until something actually happens in democracies.
Let me tell you something. We have overbooked requests of Israelis coming to the Jewish School of Barcelona. Overbooked.
Let me see.
And we start to analyze what is happening. And then we understood what is happening. That the situation is making a lot of people deciding to take a sabbatical or to try themselves in Barcelona. But maybe this will change after what happened yesterday.
I think we are going out a little bit of the topic.
No, I can say that on my personal opinion, as I said before, this is the way. From there and from here, we are near the beach, in the Mediterranean here. It's a lot of waves here, and it's also a wave, very big wave maybe. But I think that after this, when we will look behind, maybe we will discover that it's not so, story isn't so big. And I think that the Israeli democracy is strong enough to survive even this government, even these things that are happening now. But this is my personal opinion.
I have a question to bring it back to.
Let's sing Kumbaya and
It's about Tel Aviv. Okay, I'm from High-Tech Ambassadors, and we heard a few years ago from a former ambassador of Spain that Spain is one of its biggest expertise is not only building bridges, but building tunnels, building transportation tunnels of trains and all of that. And I do suggest anyone from Tel Aviv municipality to go to Barcelona and see what they've built there. Just see what they've built there.
Going like
We see Neta. It's not going anywhere. Metro is going to be put on hold because the current integrators and companies are not doing the metro as it should be. Maybe it is time to consider approaching Spain and bringing their experts to build a decent metro for Tel Aviv and for Israel.
No, I can tell you a secret. These tunnels and all of the works that going on now here is not in our responsibility. It's not the municipality doing it. It's the government doing it. And we also have a lot of difficulties with these works. So
I want to add that we are twin
I'm with you,
cities,
okay?
even in this aspect.
But Spain is building the light train in Jerusalem.
Correct.
We want Spain.
And I can tell you that many professionals have traveled to Barcelona and learned a lot of things regarding urbanism, regarding smart city,
Transportation.
regarding infrastructure, many things. What in the topics that Tel Aviv is responsible? Because public transportation, light rail, metro, it's not under the responsibility of the city of Tel Aviv-Yaffo.
Unfortunately.
Maybe if it was different.
Yes.
You may be time from Tel Aviv and Barcelona.
Yes, please.
I apologize to drive back the tracks for the train to our previous conversation, but I would like to do more of end it on a positive note, and just say that as a young person living in Tel Aviv, I'm kind of impressed by such a young country, less than 80 years old, and I see people that are 15 years old, 20 years old talk about constitutional law like I've never seen anywhere else. Yeah, so there's a legal debate that has never been seen in such a young democracy. And nothing has been decided or not decided, so it does bring us closer to Europe, because these debates took hundreds of years in Europe to get to such habeas corpus and things like that. And in Israel we did it in 75 years, and we still don't have a constitution. And maybe soon. So my positivity.